So I'm Tristan Miller. I'm here with Taleyna Morris. So first question is, who are you? What's your job?
Okay, I am an instructor in the communication department. So I am sitting in Craig Hall right now after teaching. I teach 4 classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So, and I teach research methods and small group communication and organizational communication. And then next semester, I'll do research methods, persuasion, and interpersonal communication.
So what's your connection with First Year Bears?
So I had a student in my interpersonal class many years ago now, like, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9, that said, I think you should do this because you get to know students and it's kind of interesting to see a different side of campus life. And so I became a partner with First Year Bears, and I have been a partner ever since.
What are your favorite things that you've done since you've been a part of First Year Bears?
So there was one, I don't know, like this one kind of goes back and forth. There was one year where Blair Shannon did a cupcake contest, and I was brought in as a judge. So the awesome part about the holiday cupcake contest was all the sampling, but they had like 17 entries, and that, even just going with a couple of bites, is a lot. But I really liked that. And then I don't know, I've done the art walk, that kind of thing. I really like that.
Awesome. So other than cupcakes, if I wanted to get to know you, what's something that I would need to know about you?
So everybody finds out pretty quickly that my biggest thing I do when I'm not at work is figure skating. And we did have First Year Bears come skating one year, which was also super fun, right up there with cupcakes. And so that would probably be it, that I am a pretty passionate figure skating fan and do figure skating lessons.
What would you say to someone who said that anyone can learn to figure skate? Like you can learn, right? Like, those people that are like, oh, I'm afraid I'm gonna fall down. Like, do you think anyone can learn?
Well, okay, so I do think anyone can learn, first of all, but the second thing is it requires a change in mindset, because figure skating coaches and figure skaters know that you only get better when you push yourself enough that you'll fall. And so you have to start thinking about falling as less of a failure or something to be avoided, and something that you acknowledge, okay, I was really trying something that I wasn't sure I could do.
That's what I always tell when we take a group there for the first time ice skating. I'm
Yeah.
like, fall on purpose. I'm like, just fall on purpose a few times.
Yeah.
You don't have to be scared of it. So
Yeah. No, it is absolutely an embrace the fall kind of activity.
So speaking of falling down and embracing it, what is a course that you struggled with in college?
Okay, so there are 2. I know, crazy. One of them was macroeconomics. And the other one was, interestingly, French, because I don't have a Bachelor of Science. That's super common now, but it wasn't as common then. I have Bachelor of Arts, so I had to do all this foreign language. And French 3 was taught by a Canadian professor, and French 4 was taught by a professor from France. And same language, 2 different countries, 2 different takes on a few things. So I really struggled with the whole, the slang is different, some of the pronunciation stuff was different, that kind of thing.
So if you could tell your past self anything, what would it be?
Oh, I think it would go along with the fall thing that we were talking about, in terms of I tend to be, figure skating aside, cautious by nature, but to be sure that I took the risks and the opportunities when they came up. There were definitely some things in college, notably study abroad, that I didn't do because I was just like, oh, I don't know, and super cautious about it. And now I wish I would have taken that opportunity.
Good advice. So do you have any advice for students who are starting to register for spring classes?
Well, set your alarm and register as early as you can because classes do fill up. But I also think, along with being a cautious personality, I'm a planner. And so I would tend to get frustrated when I didn't get into my first choice classes.
Yeah.
So I think always having kind of a here's my backup, and if everything I want to take is full, here's something else I'm going to do is a good plan.
And I've heard from other folks that, it's like if you don't get the class immediately, like if it fills up, like don't panic because like
Right.
things can be worked out, Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's solid advice for sure. If you had a bad first half of your semester as a student, how do you make up for it in the second half?
I think you really need to analyze what led to that poor first half and then address that. So the most common issues that I see are low attendance or low attention. And so if it's a question of low attendance, I think figuring out why you're not attending and trying to fix that. If it is low attention, then I think going back to doing things like taking notes and making note cards for yourself helps resolve some of those issues. I also think it's really important to take a look at the syllabus and figure out where exactly am I? Is this a class where most of the points possible were in the first half? Is this a class where most were in the second half? And figuring out how to prioritize that.
Yeah, that's my go-to advice is like, have you looked at your syllabus or like have you signed into your Blackboard? And it's like,
Right.
No. You should
Yeah.
definitely look at your syllabus. It helps. It's literally your plan.
Sure guide. Yeah.
The other part of that I always say is, have you talked to your professor? And he
Mhm.
would say no. Like, why would I talk to my professor? So like, what would you say to someone who is would like is thinking about maybe going to the professor, and saying like, hey, I think I had a bad first half. Like, what do I do?
Yeah. I think before you go in and talk to them, I mean, one thing I would emphasize is like we all have office hours for a reason. And the reason is so that we can talk to and meet with students. So I would not be hesitant about setting up a time, coming in, saying, I had a rough first half, what can I do? I would, however, prepare for that meeting by making sure you know, again, what is on the syllabus, what is possible, what is not possible in the class. And then making sure you understand what you're asking of them. If somebody comes in and it's just, I had a rough first half, what can I do? I'm going to need a little bit more information to help resolve that. If it's something like I had a really hard time with quizzes, then we need to talk about study habits for quizzes, where if most of my classes use small group projects throughout the semester. So if it's a small group issue, then I need to be talking about strategies for how to interact with people and make your small group function. And I can talk about either one of those with students. I just need to know which it's going to be. So coming into that meeting with an understanding of the class requirements and where you struggled will really help the professor decide how to guide you, where to go.
That's great advice. When it comes to studying, and maybe it doesn't have to be studying, where is your favorite place on campus?
Oh, that is a good question. I tend to be really in my office a lot, but when I venture out, we're recording this on a really cold, miserable day, so not on days like today, but I really like the fountain area of campus and the library area of campus.
Nice. And expanding past campus, where's your favorite place in Springfield?
I love hiking and walking. And do you mean for studying or just in general?
Just
I
in
should have
general.
asked that first. Okay.
You can't study.
So for a long time, I would have said my favorite was the Nature Center, and I do really like the Nature Center for walking still, but there's a park on the south side of town called Lost Hill that I went to for the first time this summer, and now it's become my favorite. Because it's like there's like not a lot of people, and a bunch of the hike is along the river, and I just find rivers and lakes like super relaxing. So that's probably my favorite.
I venture out sometimes to Busick.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a bit of a trek, but I really like it.
it is really nice.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that we kind of have those things around, or like they can even like rent kayaks or like anything
Oh
like
yeah.
that. Yeah. Where's
I
your
rented a kayak at Fellows Lake, and then I want to go back to Fellows because they're redoing a whole trail. It's going to be like a mountain bike slash hiking trail. It's going to be longer than what they have now. So I'm really curious to see what that looks like when it's done.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. What would you say is a resource or a few that people just generally don't use on campus?
Well, I know I'm going to say something that I won't know all the specifics, but I know that we're opening up a resource for tutoring with the public speaking class, similar to what has been offered with writing in the past.
Yeah.
And so I hope that people look into and take advantage of that through the Bear Claw. But I do also think that writing tends to get underutilized, like people not going in and taking advantage of that.
Oh yeah. It's a lot of like false confidence of like, yeah, it's
Mhm.
fine. Like my thing's fine. Or like,
Right.
you get it done the night before, and so there really isn't even time to like have
Yeah.
someone else look at it. That's generally what it is. So
I think the last minute thing is huge. So trying to push through that and getting it done in time to have somebody take a look at it, I think is really helpful.
I always give myself false assignment dates. So it's like instead
Mm-hmm.
of the said it's due on the 12th, I'll have it done on the 6th. You know what I mean? Like I'll give myself like a false date, and then you have time to like take it to the writing center. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
No,
sure.
definitely.
So let's kind of wrap up with a fun one, I guess. What
Okay.
what are you watching right now lately? Like what's your go-to?
Oh, so we've had to switch pretty recently because my husband and I were watching like Schitt's Creek, and then we had like watched all the episodes, but then there was another season and we binge watched it in like 2 days. So now I don't have one right now because I'm looking. I have to figure out something else to watch now that that's over.
Yeah,
So
it's like you just end up watching the same thing again,
yeah, there is
start
that.
it
And
over.
I really think several of the shows I've watched have plenty of possibilities if I watch it again to pick up on new and different things. But
Awesome, cool. So let's say students wanted to, find you during your office hours. Where could they find you?
I am in Craig Hall. Is that what you mean, like the
Yeah.
specifics? Mm-hmm. And that is actually a really scary question because I moved offices over the summer and I don't actually know what room I'm in. I mean, I'm very confident that I am in Craig Hall and that I am at the end of the pink hallway,
Okay.
which I don't know if you are familiar with Craig Hall. You aren't?
Not enough to know where the pink hallway is.
Okay, well, on the third floor of Craig Hall, someone had the brilliant idea that if we made the tiles different colors, it would be easier for people to find their way around. So one hallway is yellow, one hallway is pink, and one hallway is blue. And I am on the north end of the pink hallway.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here, folks.